I just wrapped up my night lecture at the city university, the halls settling into that familiar hush, broken only by the low whir of the vents overhead. Papers rustled as I stuffed them into my satchel, zipping up notebooks and stealing a glance at the wall clock. Time to head home, curl up on the couch with a mug of chamomile, and let the day's weight slip away. Teaching lights me up, don't get me wrong, but after a stretch like that, I often feel scraped hollow, like I've given every last drop and now I'm just echoing inside. That night hit harder than most, though the rhythm of it all was a small comfort. Routine, you know? It pulls you through. But then I spotted her, Lena. She'd hung back in the far row, her sketchpad shut, but her eyes fixed, patient, like she was holding space for a conversation that hadn't started yet. Most folks bolt out the door without so much as a nod, but not her. There was this quiet pull in the way she sat, shoulders relaxed but alert, that tugged me from my autopilot shuffle. I wandered over, tossing out my go-to line, "Everything okay? Need a hand with anything?" I figured it'd be the standard, clarifying an assignment, maybe a quick quiz gripe. Instead, she met my gaze, her expression open and a touch shy, and said, "I just wanted to thank you for seeing me." Those words, they landed soft but solid, like a stone skipping across still water, rippling out in ways I hadn't braced for. No one says stuff like that lightly, and the honesty in her voice made me freeze, right there mid-stride. The lecture hall shrank around us, the overhead fluorescents humming faintly, the faint chalky tang hanging in the air from the board we'd wiped clean. I crouched a bit to level with her, an odd surge of care and wonder bubbling up uninvited. "Seeing you how?" I asked, aiming for casual, but my tone came out warmer, laced with something real. She paused just a beat, then leaned in a fraction, forgetting that I'm in it, not just chasing points on a test, for showing me it's okay to dig deeper, to really tune in. Her words were measured, raw in the best way, and they squeezed my chest like a gentle fist. We didn't hurry it. The emptying hall's echoes faded down the corridor, the scuff of chairs from earlier still ghosting the quiet. It all wove into this pocket of time that stretched unhurried. That's when it clicked. Teaching her had always stood apart. She wasn't punching a clock. She was there, fully, with a depth that mirrored my own quiet hungers. And right then, that invisible line between mentor and mentee blurred into something raw, something that breathed. I let a smile break through, a glow I hadn't seen coming. "I catch a lot," I said, voice easy but true, more than I let on sometimes. Her mouth curved into this tentative grin, like we were in on the same secret. We held that hush a second longer, a wordless pact settling in, thick with promise. And that stretch, I sensed the spark of something vast, unnamed but insistent, the kind that roots down deep. She waited till the last straggler vanished, and in her waiting, she cracked open a path we'd both been circling without knowing. Afterward, she lingered in my thoughts, Lena, that exchange replaying like a favorite track on low volume. It wasn't only her staying put, it was the intent behind her words, the way her eyes held mine like I was more than a fixture in her schedule. I kept looping back to it, the subtle shift of her fingers on the sketchpad's edge, the easing of tension in her frame once she spoke. It left me off balance, alive in a hum I hadn't chased in ages. A week on, class wrapped, and for a split second I wondered if she'd slip away this time. But no, there she was, propped easy against a desk's corner, patient as ever. My pulse jumped, masked by a steady grin. "Evening," I said, drawing it out, the air between us humming soft and electric. "Evening," she echoed, and bam, that beat again, that nod of recognition too big for simple syllables. In her grip was a battered cloth-bound journal, edges soft from use, and she held it out after a breath. "Mind if I show you something? Only if it feels right." Her tone dipped low, testing the waters like she was mapping new ground. Intrigue edged out reserve. I nodded. She passed it over, careful as handing off glass, and I eased it open to pages alive with musings, doodles of city corners, jotted insights on fleeting faces, echoes from our sessions woven in. I could almost feel the late nights poured into it, her mind unfurling onto paper like a secret garden. I paged through slow, drinking it in. It's stunning," I murmured, throat-catching. "You have this gift for capturing the overlooked, the quiet pulses most of us miss."
She ducked her head, that earnest flush rising, waving it off like it was nothing. "Your talks, they shift things for me," she said, voice threading with a quiver. "It's not the syllabus or the credits. It's you, pushing me to question, to feel, to wake up." Her truth wrapped around me warm and unfiltered. I'd guided countless others, but this pierced different. Closing the journal, I locked eyes with her. "Lena, it hits deeper than you know. Thank you for trusting me with this." We stood rooted there, the hall's fixtures fading into backdrop. The vent's steady drone, the musty whisper of stacked books, a custodian's distant cart rumbling by. It all folded into our bubble, this fragile closeness blooming unspoken. As she moved to go, a pang hit. I wasn't ready for the gap. "Want to keep talking? Grab a coffee after tomorrow's session?" It slipped out softer than planned. She stilled, then nodded, her gaze holding steady. "Yeah," she said, simple and sure. "I'd like that." She slipped out, leaving me in the hush, thoughts tumbling, chest oddly brimming, a spark of tomorrow flickering bright. That night, staring at the ceiling, I turned it over, how these bonds sneak up when you're not looking, how a handful of honest beats can unlock rooms you swore were sealed. The air had changed, electric in my veins. Our thread was just unspooling. Come morning, I hovered by the hall's entrance, nerves and eagerness tangling like vines. I'd shaped lessons for throngs over the years, but this weight, it hummed personal, a space carved just for us. Lena stepped in, offering that thoughtful half-smile, and the room warmed, pulsing even in its emptiness. We claimed seats toward the weir, close enough to ease, far enough for breath, letting words spill natural into the pauses. She flipped her journal to a drawing of a weathered bridge we'd touched on once, rain-streaked lines capturing its quiet ache. "Been mulling what you mentioned last time, about tuning into the world," she said, voice gentle. "Hits me how I rush past so much, blind to the textures that build us." It landed true, a mirror to my own drifts. I inclined my head. Spot on. Days blur and we skip the nuances, the quirks that light someone up. It's a quiet loss. She lifted her eyes, something unguarded swimming there. Wonder, ache, a pull toward the edge. She said, "I see you, plain as daylight, not the prof routine, the way you lean in, the heart you pour out." My breath hitched, heat blooming steady. Her timbre carried this care, a steadiness that tempted me to close the distance, to name the hum we'd both been orbiting. I steadied myself, fingers twisting my sleeve's hem. "Lena, that's generous, means the world." She gave a small shrug, but her hands betrayed the flutter. "It's real," she pressed, and that pull tugged harder, defying caution. We lost track of time in the weave, her spilling hidden doubts, fragile hopes, me offering slivers of my own tucked-away corners. Each exchange, each held glance, wove us tighter, intimate in its slowness. Midway, she eased back, a chuckle escaping soft against the walls. "Never clicked like this with anyone my age," she confessed, a bashful edge to it. It washed over me kind, reminding that bonds defy the lines we draw. They thrive on echo, on showing up whole. I grinned, that inner thaw spreading, and I've never had someone shake me open quite like you do. Plain fact. Guiding her had always sparked different, but now it thrummed vital, alive with shared pulse. Sunlight slanted through the high panes, gilding the scuffed floor in amber veins, and I felt the tilt, profound, unforced. No hurry, just the bloom of what was taking shape, felt in our bones if not yet inked. As she rose to head out, she lingered at the threshold. "Tomorrow, same spot?" A soft query, weighted sweet. I nodded. Thrill, quiet but sure. Count on it. The door's side shut, and I melted into my seat, letting it all sink in. Life's full of these curveballs, the gifts you didn't pack for but can't set down. In the echo, I knew this wasn't mentor-mentee anymore. It was two souls, easing into view, tender and true, the kind of draw that reshapes your map. The weeks unrolled like that, each after-hours drift pulling us closer, dissecting readings one day, chasing tangents the next. My walls softened, piece by quiet piece. How wild that someone from my roster could stir echoes I'd let gather dust. One dusky evening, the hall aglow in sunset's honeyed fade, shadows stretching long across the rows, Lena stayed, journal tucked under arm, but steps sure. She faced me, gaze warm and anchored, words flowing with a newfound ease that quickened my blood. Your point about presence, it stuck, pushed me to own it, not just here,
But everywhere. And that means getting real about us, about how you've woven into me. The admission hovered, delicate yet bold, surprise mingled with a thrill, fear threading the joy. Lena, I started, but she raised a palm, soft, inviting space. Hear me out? No strings, just truth. You've reshaped me, deep down. I sank into a chair, the weight settling kind, and there, in the hush, I owned it too, this unforeseen tether, beautiful in its tangle. Not roles or years dividing us, but the grace of being met, held in the open. It's mutual, I breathed. Never saw this coming, but you're etched in now, vital, irreplaceable. Relief lit her face, bright and free, and the words flowed unchecked, till twilight claimed the light, the world's murmur holding breath for hours. When she finally moved for the door, it felt like a hinge swinging wide, not closed, a fresh chapter beckoning. Strolling home under street lamps' glow, I mulled the magic of it. How arrival can be whisper soft, laced with honor, flipping your lens on everything, self, others, the wide unknown. Later, steam rising from my mug in the dim lamplight, I traced it back, from that first post-bell spark to this quiet revolution. What kicked off as offhand chat had swelled into revelation, a nudge that hearts hold endless room for the unforeseen, for bonds that bloom beyond the Rhines. Lena had paused till the crowd thinned, her stillness a gift of time and truth. In it, she taught me the quiet might of showing up, of bearing the soft spots. She rewrote my story, not shattering, but expanding it, coloring connections I'd skimmed past. And as that sank in, a smile tugged free, grateful for the surprise, for these raw human threads that turn the ordinary luminous. Some ties whisper in, some demand time. Some, like ours, recast you, whole and new.